Welcome to the Baseball Together podcast with your hosts, Blackjack Brad and Briggy Blue Eyes. And now, Baseball Together. Welcome back, baseball family, to this week's episode of the Baseball Together podcast. I'm Brig. Here's Brad. How are you?
Good, Brig. How are you?
Good, Brig. How are you? Thank you very much. We're doing great. Here we go. The only reason we're moving so fast is because Brad's wife said that he was about to get into big trouble if we didn't move fast. We're going to move fast.
We'll be fine.
Just kidding, Mel. I'm teasing. I just wanted to mess with Mel. Baseball family, one of the things that we like to do throughout the season, especially kind of this deep in the season and moving forward toward the playoffs, is we like to talk about which teams are contending for playoff spots and those teams who are pretending that maybe are a flash in the pan, maybe they're on a hot streak, whatever it is. We're kind of going to live middle up in the standings, for lack of a better way to put that. And so that's what we're going to do today. We're going to go through contenders or pretenders. As always, we want to hear from you what you think. Are we way off? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Etc. Before we get into that, I want to let you know that probably the best way to support the show, if you're so inclined, is to head over to patreon.com and search Baseball Together. There are 5 tiers of support that you can sign up for to support the show directly, to become one of our monthly patrons. Everything from $1 a month all the way up to a whopping $500 a month is included. Yes, $500 a month is comically large. It is absurd. We will do the things we say, or rather, I will do the things Brad said I would do.
That's accurate.
So one way or the other, we would just we'd love some support from you if you're so inclined. That's patreon.com, search Baseball Together. There are other ways to support the show as well. We have affiliate links for everything we talk about in the description of every video. And you can go to Chinook Seeds, ChinookSeedery.com. Use code BTPOD at checkout for your every order. It doesn't even have to be your first order. Just every order, the best seeds ever. I prefer Parmesan and pepper. It's my favorite flavor. Brad likes them all. I mean, I like them all, but my very favorite is Parmesan and pepper. Brad, are you still on Hatch chili?
Moving on to Smokehouse Barbecue this week. My favorite flavor is the last one that I ate, always. Because I always eat one. I'm like, yeah, that was really, really good. I want about 5 more of those. Then I reach into my bucket and I grab another one. I'm like, oh, that'll do. And then I had that. I'm like, yeah, that was really good. I want more of that one too. Every time. Every time.
I agree. I feel like I understand. When I run out of Parm and Pep, that's kind of where I feel the same way. Okay, baseball family, we are going to run down the standings. We're going to go by division. We're going to start with the American League. We always start in the AL East and move from there. So, beginning, we're going to ask some stupid questions here, baseball family. So get ready for some stupid questions. All right, starting with the New York Yankees. Brad, do you think they are contenders, legitimate, or do you think they are pretending?
I think they're contenders for the American League pennant. Straight up.
Yep. I agree.
That's all there is to it. I know they're gonna have rough patches. Everybody has rough patches. They'll be fine. Yep. They're gonna be right there in the ALCS at the end of the year.
Yeah. Okay.
Most
good. Let's get that out of the way. Now, let's move to second place, which is a tie right now from Tampa Bay and Toronto. Both of them are 4.5 games behind the Yankees. As of this moment, they are, let's see, Tampa Bay 7-3 in their last 10 as of Monday. Toronto 8-2 in their last 10. Toronto's current run differential is -1 compared to Tampa Bay's +48. Over against teams over 500, Tampa Bay is 19-16, whereas Toronto is 15-21 versus teams over 500. Do you think either of these teams are contenders, or do they just mathematically have to land here?
So it's really interesting because I have a hard time with. I think things are actually going to level out with the Rays. So I'll start with the Rays.
Okay.
Because that ballpark is brutal where they're playing. That is tough. I think that the front-loaded home schedule will be good for them as long as they can win on the road. If they can win on the road, right now they're 12-10. This is Monday, June 9th, pre-recorded. if they can win on the road, they'll be just fine. Pitching doesn't always travel,
Mm-hmm.
but their pitching has been pretty good playing in that ballpark that they've been in, which is a hitter's
Yeah,
park.
it is.
So if they go on the road and they end up playing a bunch of pitchers parks, they'll be great toward the end of the season. They'll be right there. So I think that's what it's going to depend on, because their offense is good, their pitching is what they live and die by. Is what it comes
Yeah.
down to. And I think that if they can, if it'll travel with them, they'll be fine. I think they will contend, but that is the contingency. I don't think that they necessarily have to make a bunch of moves at the deadline. I think they just have to be like, our pitching is good, make sure everybody stays healthy, we'll be fine. The Blue
Would
Jays.
you say the same thing about Toronto?
No,
Where are you landing on
that's
that?
where I'm. Okay, they're really interesting. So they do not strike out. Period. Putting the ball in play does travel, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that. I am a big fan of just putting the ball in play and letting stuff happen, whether it's chaos, finding the gaps, or taking the extra base, whatever. I am a big fan of letting that happen. I think that the Blue Jays have figured some stuff out, and I think they're going to be contenders. I think they have a shot. And part of the reason is because they're in the American League, which is so wide open.
Yeah.
Right?
Both Tampa Bay and Toronto hold spots as of the wild card situation right now, and they would essentially be tied for that 0 line because there's a 3-way tie right now as of Monday the
Mm-hmm.
9th for that 0 spot. So I think you're right. I think Tampa Bay. I think. Wow. Okay. I'm gonna tell you. I think Tampa Bay. They're pretenders. I think this is
Yeah.
absolutely front-loaded scheduled benefits. I think that the injury bugs and trades that they are known for, especially the trades, have not hit them yet. I expect them to fall off. I do not think Tampa Bay's positive uh, record against teams over 500 is something we should even worry about. I know it's 19-16. I think it's all BS, and I think it's all bad for you. I would say the same thing for Toronto. I think that the other teams they're going to have to battle with to stay in the wild card situation, they're going to get overtaken. I'm not terribly worried about Toronto making it into the playoffs, let alone deep into the playoffs. They might battle for that third slot. There's a couple of teams that could get hot and easily overtake them. They are a half a game. We've got Cleveland's a half a game back. Seattle's a game and a half back. Kansas City's a game and a half back out of the wild card conversation if it were to end today. I'm saying that both of those teams, Tampa Bay and Toronto, are out. Pretenders.
So just to be clear, I don't think that. So I said the Yankees were contenders for the American League pennant. I do
Yeah.
not think either of these teams are contenders for the American League pennant. I
No.
think that they are wild card contenders. Is what it
You
is.
say contending for the wild card.
Yes.
I
Yes,
say
I think they'll
not
be
a
there. I think they'll be
snowball's
there all year.
chance. No,
Okay.
I don't. I disagree.
All right.
This is exciting. I love this. Okay.
This is very good.
Let's go ahead and just assume Detroit, they're headed to the playoffs, right?
Best team in the AL.
It would take a
They're-
friggin' miracle.
It would take
would be
an epic collapse inverse of the run that they went on last year to make the playoffs in order
Yeah.
for them to miss.
That's right.
Could
That's
you
right.
imagine? But the Mariners were up 10
Ooh.
games this time last year and missed. So
I know.
Oof,
I know.
brutal, man.
And they are 7 games over the Twins, who are actually the next team in conversation. The Twins, right now, 7 games behind the Tigers in the AL Central as of Monday. They have a plus 37 run differential compared to Detroit's plus 92. Against teams over 500, Minnesota comes in at 17-23. Detroit comes in at 25-19 versus teams over 500. Detroit wins at home and away. Minnesota wins at home, not away. Just as a 1-to-1 comparison, I think if you're going to look down the line, even though the Twins currently sit as that third team in the AL wildcard discussion right this minute, do you think they're contending for the wildcard spot or not?
The Twins? No, I don't. And the reason is because I feel like, and I think I said this before with Panic or Patience, they went on that 13-game winning streak, and then they've been average since then. They made up a whole lot of ground, but they have not proven that they are superior to really anybody since then. You can get hot
Yep.
for 2 weeks, and that's great. The
Yep.
Rockies got hot for a weekend. Does not mean that they're any good. Or I guess it was middle of the week. Does not mean that they're any good. Right? I still would not pick the Rockies over the Marlins if they played again.
No, it was a fluke.
And that's what I'm saying. 13 games is a lot, but it's a hot streak, and I feel like they're an average team. I don't see them in the wild card at the end of the season.
I think if you throw Pablo Lopez out for 8 to 12 weeks, that's the death sentence right there. I don't think they have what it takes.
That is a big one.
I don't think they have what it takes in the pitching rotation to stanch the bleeding. I don't think their offense is capable of performing at a level required to bolster against that pitching deficit. I'm saying no. They're pretending. They got hot, very exciting. It's over. It'll be over soon.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I feel. Okay. Now that calls into question Cleveland. Got to talk about Cleveland. 7.5 games out of first place, half a game back in the wild card conversation. Okay, they're at a negative 19 run differential. They are a sub 500, or just over 500 team. 34-30 as of Monday. 531 win percentage. When they play teams over 500. They are almost at 500. It's 21 wins, 22 losses against teams over 500. Yeah, I mean they're right about 500. So, I don't even know what to say. Is this the Cleveland?
Let me tell you about
team?
Let me tell you about Cleveland. You remember Cleveland 2 years ago?
Yeah.
When they couldn't hit their way out of a wet paper bag, and then last year they removed that like upper section and created the Cleveland jet stream or whatever it is they call it.
Yeah, they opened the flu.
Yeah, they opened the flu. Well, the flu is not doing anything for them this year. They're back to where they were 2 years ago, and the offense is anemic. They're not going to do anything. The pitching is not as good as it was then.
It's not as good. That's the thing. The pitching's not as good.
They're not going to. They're going to be around a 500 team because collectively, like they got some talent on that team
for sure.
But for some reason, it just does not all click at the same time. And 34-30 is a good record. That puts you second place in the West. But that puts you in fourth place in the East, right? Like you've got to be better than that in the American League this year, and I don't think that they're going to be there.
Yeah.
I think they're going to make some teams nervous at the end of the year. They're going to play spoilers. They're going to knock some teams out before the season ends, but they're not going to be there to knock anybody out once playoffs games start. So
yeah. Okay, now we have to, if we're going to talk about Cleveland, we have to talk about Kansas City. 34-32 as of Monday night, 1.5 games out of the wild card conversation, 8.5 behind first place Detroit. Okay, I don't think it's any conversation as to whether they're going to be in contention for the division, but I do think that they're conversation starters when it comes to the wild card. They're on only a -9 run differential, and against teams over 500, they're 21-26. They also sit just over 2 games over 500 right now. And they're about to play the Yankees tomorrow in New York, in the Boogie Down. Wait, no. Mm-hmm. No, they'll be in...
Oh, in Kansas City?
In Kansas City, yeah.
Okay.
Which will help because they're 19-13 at home. They lose away more often. Do you think the Kansas City Royals have what it takes to sneak up into that wild card conversation, knowing that they're a game and a half back and those other teams we've just discussed, other than Seattle, which we'll talk about? Contenders or pretenders? Kansas City.
It's hard for me to say right now because I know it's just one guy, but it's a significant prospect coming up with Jack Caglianone.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's a significant addition to come in and try to boost that offense, which is what they really need because that's the problem that they have. They have good pitching, but man, the offense has not been great, to say the least. They've kind of been treading water. I think they'll. I think they're going to contend for this is the thing. I think they're going to contend for a wild card spot, but I don't think they're going to get it. I think they'll eventually end up moving above Cleveland because I think they're a better team, and I think they're going to because I think their ceiling is higher, but I don't think they're going to quite make the playoffs this year.
Okay. Well, let's move to the AL West because
What do you have about what do you didn't say about the Royals?
No, I'm sorry. The Royal, yeah, I totally agree with you. They are going to overtake Cleveland. They're going to overtake Toronto. They're going to pass Toronto. Very likely to overtake Tampa Bay, depending on how the back end of Tampa Bay's schedule goes. I can see them. Like I said, I think they're pretending. I think Kansas City has a better chance. But again, they're making moves. It'll depend on how many moves they make, this prospect, trade deadline stuff. I have more hope for the Kansas City Royals right now than I do for the Tampa Bay Rays right now. So,
yeah.
I think that's it. All right. Let's move on to the West, the American League West. Houston did the thing that we said they would do, the thing that they always do. They got really sneaky. They flew under the radar, and they are once again in first place. Okay? My question to you is, 6-4 in their last 10, is this a fluke, or are we doing the Astros thing and just cruising right along?
They're doing the Astros thing. They don't even have Jordan Alvarez yet.
I know.
And they're doing the Astros thing. Like, they'll be fine. They're going to win the division again this year.
It's almost, I mean, it's not certain, but feels like somewhat of a foregone conclusion.
I'm just going to continue to write them in as a division winner every year until they don't. And then once they don't, then I'll start to think a little bit harder about it. But until that happens, they're the AL West champs, and they will continue to be.
Yeah. So now we have to talk about your Seattle Mariners. As of Monday, 33 and 31. They're a skosh over 500. 2.5 behind the Houston Astros. A game and a half back in the wild card conversation. 3-7 in their last 10. They have a dead 0 run differential. Against teams over 500, they're 14-17. They eke out wins away. They mostly win at home, but not all the time.
They don't mostly win at home. They have a losing record at home, 16-17.
I know, but
it's absurd.
It's absurd. Yeah, you're right. It's absurd. So what's up with them, and are they contenders at all?
Okay, this is what's up with them. Is the pitching this year is not nearly as good as it was last year, and playing in a pitcher's park, that's a problem. Early in May, they had an outstanding offensive month. Just unreal. Towards the top of Major League Baseball in like almost all categories. Cal Raleigh still leads Major League Baseball in home runs, which is amazing. But you had guys like Jorge Polanco fell off a cliff, just absolutely no production. Victor Robles got hurt like second or third week of the season. He's out for who knows how long. And so then you try to fill holes. Well, Luke Raley gets hurt as well. So you got another hole again in right field. They bring in Leody Taveras. You're like, man, this guy, if we can get him to return to form, he'll be fantastic. He got DFA'd this week.
Yeah,
because the dude forgot how to hit, and then he forgot how to play in the outfield. Ends up losing the game for the Mariners on Saturday against the Angels. Brig. That didn't go well at our house, by the way.
No, you do. I'll bet you're right. Not for you, it didn't.
No, not for me and the two other people who are Angels fans. Stella, I don't know if Stella's an Angels fan, but we'll say that she is. Or a Mariners fan, but we'll say she is.
I was gonna say, what do you? Now you're crossing wires.
I know it's the green blanket that she carries with her. It's the Mariners blanket. Anyway,
there you go. Nice.
So this is the thing with the Mariners, is that if they can figure out, they can remember how to hit, they're gonna be just fine. Because the pitching is not what it was last year, but the offense has been better and has been, like, when it's good, it's so much better than it ever has been the last, 4 years. And if they can reach almost that point that it was in May, they're going to be just fine.
Are those big ifs, though? That's the question.
They've got some holes to fill. They brought up Dom Canzone to play right field. Yeah. And if he can hold serve till Luke Raley gets back, that'll be okay. Then you sort out first base. Because Donovan Solano is a black hole. Rowdy Tellez is good but inconsistent. Then you've got to figure out what to do with Mitch Garver. Are you going to find somebody dumb enough to take his money? I hope so. I don't know, though, because talk about a black hole. That dude has been nothing but a black hole since he got to Seattle.
Right.
And I've been cheering for him, but man, it's getting real tough.
Yeah. Okay, so are they contenders or pretenders as of this moment?
They're going to contend for a wild card spot. I think that they're going to stay right there. They have the talent, top to bottom. Julio Rodriguez, his strikeout numbers are way down this year. He had 3 games in the month of May where he struck out twice.
Whoa.
No 3 strikeout games. And
That's
only struck
amazing.
out twice in 3 games. So
good for him.
Julio has been putting the ball in play, and it's been great. Cal's unreal at the plate. And Cole Young, I think, is going to come around. I think they'll be okay. J.P. Crawford's been great. I think you get one more guy who can hit, and you're fine. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I think they're contenders. I think they're contenders as well. I think there a couple things need to happen. I think they're better than some of the teams that are in the standings above them right now. Even if they don't work out some of these weird kinks they have, I still think they're better than Toronto. And I think they're better than Tampa Bay. So
the problem is will they win the games that they're supposed to? Because they got swept by the Orioles, lost 2 out of 3 to the Nats, and then lost 2 out of 3 to the Angels. Like that's not a good stretch of baseball. That's why I'm saying it's a rough week of baseball for me last week.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to move on to the National League East. Is it the Mets? The Mets are here to win the division. The end, right? Like they would be.
It sure feels like it. The Phillies don't seem consistent enough to make a run at it.
The Phillies are 1-9 in their last 10. They've lost 5 in a row as of Monday.
I think they went 9-1 in their previous 10, though.
See,
that's the thing.
Make it make sense. So the Mets are obviously contenders. Super duh. The Phillies, though, 4.5 back. They hold the line at 0 in the wild card conversation. They only have a positive 15 run differential compared to the Mets, who have a plus 88 run differential. They lose more games than they win versus teams over 500, but they win more games than they lose, whether they're at home or away. Right now, they're playing the Cubbies. That's a rough one. Who are these Phillies? I have an opinion. I think they're still contenders. I think that it would be foolish to consider them anything other than.
This is the thing. The Phillies need to make a significant move for a pitcher, maybe 2, if they're really going to contend. They're going to be right there because they have that. Dude, those bats are so good that there's no reason they shouldn't be in every single game, if not winning it.
Right.
But the pitching is so bad right now.
And the fact that that is the case, that's the case, and they're still at .569 win percentage, 4.5, only 4.5 behind New York, and New York is on a tear. So, yeah, I think you're right. A couple of moves. And they don't even have to be superstar moves. They just need to raise the water line a little bit in that pitching staff. That's all they got to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, okay, and then I'm not even going to go through the rest of the East because it doesn't matter.
No, that's fine.
The National League Central, the Cubs are 4 games over the Cardinals for first place in the division. I think it's theirs to lose. I think it's been theirs to lose all season long. Their run differential is plus 105. They're at 500 against teams over 500. So let's just keep them in contention, obviously. But the Cardinals, as I said, 4 games back as of Monday, 1 game back in the wild card conversation. When it comes to teams over 500, they're 21-17. They have a positive 28 run differential, and they kill it at Busch. They kill it. 22-11 at home versus a 14-18 away. I'm saying they're contenders. I would not have said that even 3 weeks ago. But as of right now, I am shocked at how good they've been over this last, 3.5 weeks. What do you think?
I think they're pretenders. They're an average baseball team that's gotten pretty fortunate in a couple stretches. I think they're the Twins of the National League. Um,
Mm-hmm.
they're and this is the thing is, I think right now we can lock up the wild card: Phillies, Padres, Giants. That's it. Nobody else. Those are your three wild card teams. And honestly, the team that's at the bottom of those three is probably going to win it by like 6 games because the rest of the NL is
Yeah.
going to fall off.
Yeah. Because the rest of the
And
NL in the wild card race looks like St. Louis, Milwaukee, Cincinnati, Arizona, Washington, and down from there. And you're right. You're right. But the reason I'm harping on the Cards so much is because they are the only other team that I think has any chance of cracking that top three in the
if
wild
anybody's
card.
going to get close, it's going to be them. You're right. I just don't think
It's
that they
going to be
will. I
them.
think they're an
Well,
average team, and they're gonna fall away. And 6 games might be generous for them
maybe.
because I
But
think
check
those
this out.
other three teams are going to run away. If the
For
Phillies
me,
get a pitcher.
the NL wild card is all going to come down to the trade deadline. That is going to define the situation for the playoff picture in the National League, specifically the wild card. It's all going to come down to the trade deadline because check this out. The Cardinals have a plus 28 run differential. The Padres plus 18. The Phillies plus 15. So just in offensive capabilities alone, the Cardinals are either right there or are better. If they trade Nolan Arenado, it's over. They're not in conversation anymore. Right? If the Phillies pick up a couple of pitchers, it's over. They're in the wild card spot if they can get a couple of good arms. Right? So I think that's why I'm saying I think it comes down to the deadline. I don't think yeah.
So
but it will be those four teams.
Here are a couple things for you. The Phillies technically are below the Cards as far as OPS plus and ERA plus go.
Yep.
The Phillies are dead average offensively, which is weird to me, but nonetheless they are. Their ERA plus is 104. The higher the better. 100 is league average.
Yep.
The Cards are 105 ERA plus and 103 ERA or OPS plus. So I think when I say that the Phillies are like a lock, basically, is because of their potential. But I think I have to have the caveat of getting a pitcher, and I think that they will. And once they do, then the Cards they're no longer in it. But I don't know, maybe it'll be closer than 6 games.
Who knows, buddy?
And I think it depends. Like, I think you're right, though. I think the cog is the Nolan Arenado trade, whether he sticks around after the deadline or not.
That's it. It's going to come down to the trade deadline. So,
and I think whether or not they trade him depends on whether the front office is like, do we want to just play to make the playoffs, or do we want to play to win a World Series in 2 years, 3 years?
That's exactly right. And if they're smart, they'll trade him and they'll go for broke the next couple of seasons. Handful, whatever it is. Yeah. Okay, moving on to the NL West, which again seems a foregone conclusion. However, when you look at how close the Padres and Giants are to the Dodgers, it's not a foregone conclusion. You would think it is, but mathematically, they're both one game behind LA right now. So, San Diego, one game behind LA, positive 18 run differential. Los Angeles has a positive 74 run differential. Against teams over 500, in order, LA is 15 and 14, San Diego 15 and 21, and San Francisco 21 and 20 against teams over 500. Okay? I think San Diego is holding on by their fingernails. I think San Francisco continues to be sneaky, and I think that in the balance of time, that number 2 spot in the division will go to San Francisco, and if they do not battle it out with Los Angeles all the way to the, last week of the season, I will be shocked. I think that they keep it tight all the way until the last week of the regular season. That's what I think happens.
I think it's going to be tight too. So this is wild. You ready for this?
I'm ready.
So OPS plus for these teams, the Giants are 94, league average again, 100.
Yeah.
the Padres are 92. ERA plus, the Padres are 118 and the Giants are 125. Now, I'm curious because
Huh.
I know those are big ballparks, but they don't feel like they're that big.
Right.
Okay. So let's look at park factor. Under
Yeah,
100
do that.
favors pitchers. The Giants are just a shade under 100 as far as park factor goes.
Okay.
So it means it's a little bit more of a pitcher's park. And then San Diego is at or just a touch above 100. So just a little bit more of a hitter's park. So the fact that these teams are relying on their pitching, like you've got to score runs to win. I've been beating this horse to death over the last decade plus as a Mariners fan. Baseball is not a team or not a sport where defense turns into offense. It just physically cannot happen in the game. It is not possible. It happens in football, it happens in basketball, it happens in hockey, it happens in soccer. In baseball, it is not possible to turn defense into offense, right? These teams have got to figure out how to score, or they're going to be screwed when it comes to the end of the season.
I agree.
That said, I think they're going to figure it out because they have the guys to do it.
Yeah.
Xander Bogaerts is currently at an OPS plus of 83. That doesn't feel like that's who he is. Jason Hayward is 38. Oh, that's OPS plus. That's not his age, by the way. He's 35 years old with an OPS plus of 38. Like, that is who he is now. They need to figure that out. But, like, Manny Machado is 150. He's not the one dragging that down. Tatis is 120. He's not dragging that down. Jackson Merrill, 123. They'll be fine. They're going to be just fine.
Yeah.
Okay. And then as far as the Giants go offensively, Lamont Wade Jr., gone. He was at 59 OPS plus. But Matt Chapman, 134. Elliot Ramos, 142. Jung-Hoo Lee, who is an absolute stud, by the way.
Dude is working
with a capital D. He has a 120 OPS plus, and I think he's still coming back from injury somewhat.
Yeah.
Like, I think these teams are going to be fine. If you figure out how to either shed some weight or get guys going who have not been at this point, I think they'll be okay offensively.
I do too. So who can catch LA? I'm saying San Francisco. I think that the offensive output of San Diego is not going to make it happen. It's certainly not when they play one another, but you know. So who's contending? Both. Neither of them are pretenders. They're both contenders. But I think the more interesting conversation comes down to who catches LA, if anybody's going to do it. And I'm saying San Francisco. And I'm saying it's going to be sneaky, and it's going to be all the way down to the wire.
I think you're right. But honestly, I think the Dodgers win this. The Dodgers are going to win the division, but it's not going to be by nearly as much as everybody thought. It's one of those things where, like, you know how Usain Bolt, you would watch him and he would like let up in the last like 10 meters or whatever, and the races, like you look at the finishing photo and it was like really, really close. It's like it wasn't really that close. That's what this division's going to feel like. Is it the Dodgers win by like 2-3 games? But it's going to be like, but really, like the Dodgers, they're so much better than everybody else. I don't think anybody's going to catch them.
For me, the Dodgers' success for me is going to live and die based on this pitching injury rotation. We'll see what happens. I don't think that's a revelation to anybody, but depending on how they handle these pitching injuries and rehab assignments and who gets coming back at what time, things like that, that'll be the differentiator. Obviously, if any of these teams have a sustained injury problem or if they have a significant injury, then that's going to skew all these results. And then again, I think there are some trade deadline conversations that could shake up the West a little bit. And if anybody's got a deep pocket, it is those guys in LA. So you know who's going to shore up if they can, and it's going to be the Dodgers. So,
my gosh, could you imagine if they go with the trade deadline and they make another deal for a guy that's like, I'm not saying Jack Flaherty again, but another deal like that, and it's like, again?
Like, enough. Yeah, enough already. Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree.
Well, you've got to reach a point where you actually run out of prospects that you can trade. But honestly, I feel like the Dodgers, the way they use their prospects, like that's the way to do it. Like you said, two in the hand is better than one, or two in the hand is better than one in the bush. Yeah,
One in the hand's better than two in the bush.
Yeah, that's what it is. One in the hand is better than two in the bush. One big leaguer who is an all-star, a perennial all-star, is better than two prospects in your farm system. Like
every time.
That is the absolute truth.
Every time.
That's the way that the Dodgers are doing it.
Yeah. Yep. All right, baseball family, tell us what you think. Did we get it right? Did we get it wrong? It's okay if you disagree, but we want to hear about it. Jump in the comments and let us know. Don't forget, you can like, subscribe, rate, and review the channel, the show, anywhere you're able to. We are on every platform. We are there every day, and we really appreciate you being there with us. So with that, baseball family, don't forget, we're here every Tuesday morning. We're here every Sunday morning, and we are here every Thursday night, live, 9:30 p.m., YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch for Taylor. And with that, baseball family, thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you next week.